I have a very important message to share this week. While Father is leading my heart in one direction to clear up certain lies and deceptions, He has been placing a thought in my head consistently that He finally directed me to communicate through this ministry. We talk a lot about how this world is moving towards change and how an economic collapse and/or war is upon us. We talk often how we are being pressed by the world to conform to its ways and mindsets. We talk often about how the masses are being provoked by fear to do and accept things they normally would never accept. And of course, all of those things and more need to be spoken on and covered. For all of us with our eyes opened, it's easy to see the deception that has come over this earth. It's easy to see how we are being herded. But oftentimes, what can happen is that because we can plainly see how deceived everyone else is, we can often get on our high horse and miss important things for us personally. We can be so concerned with everything else around us that we are not guarding our personal lives enough. We are seeing the enemy take hold of everyone around us that we forget that he is still trying desperately to attack us as well. Some of us are being provoked by anger, and some of us are being provoked by fear. Some of us are being provoked and attacked by doubt. So many things that are coming at us. But for the majority of us, even if we are working on our anger, having no fear and doubt, and growing stronger in our faith, the enemy is still coming at us, and we need to recognize it. Over the past months, I've heard Father's Spirit speaking the same words to me over and over. And every day, I've been conscious to it, and I've been doing my best to heed His warning. Every day, as I go on social media, or talk with my family and friends, or when I go out with my family, I hear the same warning. Do not be distracted. Keep your eyes on me. Do not be distracted. I hear Him say this to me often, and He really helps me to always keep Him at the center of my thoughts, regardless of what I'm doing. And after hearing that message over and over, it is time to convey that same message to His body. Do not be distracted. Keep your eyes on our Father. Do not be distracted. Let's begin. So, has anyone else heard Him communicating this to you as well? The times that we live in are so dangerous. Being a believer really is not for the weak and faint at heart at all. We have to live on guard at all times. Our enemy comes at us in so many different ways to get us off the path of following our Father in heaven. It is a complete battle of the mind. Our mind is exactly where Satan attacks. If he can get our mind off of our Father and get us focused on our distractions, then he can control us. All day long, if you look at the world with spiritual eyes, this is how everyone looks. Controlled through their distractions. Walking asleep while they look awake. This is because everyone is distracted. They are minds that are highly diluted by distractions of this world. And this is how Satan wants us all to be. Distracted. Walking in a state of confusion and distraction, all the while being unaware of it. So through this, he can move in with his suggestions and influence to move us off track and claim us. So what we must do is make sure that we are not distracted and moving off of our purpose and away from the way. Believers cannot be distracted. We must live soberly. Now, when I say soberly, this is not just from a point of view of not being drunk or intoxicated, but living and moving with a sound mind. Having a mind that is centered around our Messiah. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 6 says, For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in Elohim for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Messiah, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. These verses are extremely important and, in my opinion, not applied enough throughout the body of Messiah. As believers, though we walk in the flesh, we do not fight against our enemy in the flesh. Fighting against our true enemy isn't the same thing as fighting against someone you personally have a problem with, because it's not a physical fight. We do not war against Satan according to the ways of our flesh. Our weapons against him are not carnal, meaning physical. They are powerful, because they come through the power of Elohim, and they pull down strongholds. That's like a cause or belief that people hold on to strongly. They cast down arguments and bring down every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim. That's what our weapons have the power to do. But they are not physical, but spiritual, because that is where the war is being fought. This is what we all must do. We must bring every thought into captivity to the obedience of Messiah. So guess what? Satan knows this is what we need to do, and this is exactly what he does not want us to do. To control our thought life and bring it into obedience of Yahshua and his words. He wants us moving through our flesh, walking in distractions, because this will keep us moving more in our flesh and less through the Spirit, keeping us from bringing our thought life into the obedience of our Messiah. And this cannot be. For me personally, I have had a lot of things happening in my life that were blessings. Things that I prayed for were actually happening, like the mending of certain relationships, and a cousin who was like a brother to me was just married. But while all of this was happening, and different people were popping in my life that haven't been there for a while, all I heard was, do not be distracted. Keep your eyes on me. Do not be distracted. Through my blessings, I felt the enemy coming in, trying to claim my mind and get me in a mode of distraction. There were thoughts that were coming to my mind that were not about Father, but about me and my flesh. Thoughts more about serving myself more than serving him. I'm so thankful for him and his Holy Spirit, because through him, I was able to identify these situations and bring those thoughts back into obedience of him. You see, every blessing in my life is not about me, but about serving him. So for me recently, what I had to do was do a whole reevaluation and remove things out of my life that might have been placed there to distract me. I am making sure that the enemy doesn't deceptively move in and take my eyes off Father. What I am noticing is that as we move towards this change in the world, events are happening a little more dramatically in people's lives. People are self-destructing and being given up to their flesh. The enemy is taking hold of the weak, so we must be even stronger and walk more in our convictions, keeping a stronger grip on our minds. I feel so strongly that we are seeing the beginning of the separation of the wheat from the tares. It's becoming so easy today to be able to identify true believers. As believers, we must remember what Yahshua said. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, he said, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be wise as servants and harmless as doves." We must be wise. We must not let temptations and distractions get the better of us, no matter what form they take or how enticing they may be. And if you are a believer, you better believe that the enemy is directing attention to you right now to try to get you off track, waiting for you to give him a foothold or a doorway in so that he can move you away. But as believers, we must believe this. No temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man. But Elohim is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape that you may be able to bear it. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. Whatever temptations or distractions are coming at us, feel blessed to know it will never be more than you are able to bear, which means that you can get through all of it as long as you stay focused and keep your minds fixed on obedience to our Messiah. Do not let your life distract you from Messiah. Do not let your family distract you from Messiah. Now, this may hit some of you. Do not let serving our Messiah distract you from him. That goes for me too. I have to remind myself of this often. I often get so driven to share his word and what he places on my heart that I can sometimes miss my quiet time with him or just bringing my thoughts into obedience to him. Again, that's why I'm so thankful for his warnings of do not be distracted. Keep your eyes on me. He gets me in line whenever I veer off, and that's why being led by his Spirit is so important. Let's go back to the gospel when Yahshua went to visit the house of Martha and Mary. This is found in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Yahshua's feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving. And she approached him and said, Adonai, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore, tell her to help me. And Joshua answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. You see, Martha was focused on serving Joshua and making him comfortable, and bothered by her sister for her neglecting that service because she was sitting at his feet listening to his words. Joshua explained that what Martha was worrying about was not what was needed. What Mary was focused on was needed. You see, so though we are given purpose and have tasks that need to be done for his kingdom, that cannot replace our time of focusing on him and hearing his word, whether written in his holy book or spoken in our hearts through his spirit. So what am I saying to you? Simple. Do not be distracted from our Father. Do not take your eyes off of him. This is what the enemy desires from you, and he will place many things in your path to distract you and remove you from abiding in our Father's will. You must be extremely diligent in these last days, because the devil is doing a roundup. Those that are taking their eyes off Messiah, for whatever reason, will fall. Just like Peter, when he was given the ability to walk on water, as long as he kept his eyes on Joshua, soon as he took his eyes off Joshua and was distracted, he began to sink in the water. This will be us if we do not get our focus right and keep our eyes on what matters. Listen, I know the world is changing drastically, and there are so many things coming at us. It seems hard to not be distracted. Understand, it's not that you won't ever be distracted, but that you must be mindful of it and redirect your mind and thoughts back to Messiah when you find that you are. The enemy will try to swoop in and tell you that being disobedient in certain areas is not a big deal. You must redirect your thoughts back to being obedient to our Father's word, bringing every thought captive to the obedience of Messiah. You cannot allow yourself to be distracted from your purpose. Father has a work to do in you, and the devil does not want it to be done. He wants you distracted and to be able to control your thought life. Be careful of what you feed your brain, what you allow to be suggested to you through media like television and online through social media. Be careful of times when you want to give your brain a rest and you place it in the hand of the enemy. He will take advantage of you. Be careful with the company you keep and the suggestions they give. They may be unknowingly working for the enemy to get you off track and distracted. The point is, do not fall into temptation and fall away. Do not give up on your convictions and your faith because you feel like things are moving slow or you're getting impatient. Do not allow yourself to fall into sin that will set you back. This is a wake-up call and warning for all believers. Do not become distracted and fall asleep. You may think that certain movements you make may be inconsequential, but you are wrong. It's very important that we all stand up and stay awake. Do not sleep. We are in crunch time, where all of our decisions matter. It's important that you do not fall asleep and become so comfortable that you fall into a snare and trap. Remember this and live through this. But concerning the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I should write to you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahuwah so comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. You are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and as a helmet, the hope of salvation. For Elohim did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Adonai, Yahshua the Messiah, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Therefore, comfort each other and edify one another, just as you also are doing. That's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. You should live through that. You see, we must be awake and sober so his day does not come upon us like a thief in the night. It's important that we do not go to sleep and fall in darkness. Our enemy is working hard at us all to bring us there. So you must resist him. This message, again, is a warning to all believers to stay focused and connected to Messiah. Stay led by his Spirit and walk in obedience to his ways. Continue to be set apart and live courageously and victoriously. Keep your lamps filled with oil and stay ready, for our day of redemption is near. Stay focused. Be blessed. Okay, thanks again for watching. If this has blessed you, please don't forget to like this and share it with others. If you have not done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Elohim willing, I upload every Friday. Don't forget to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. As always, I really would like to thank all those who support this ministry. I sincerely thank you for your support. I am very thankful for you. Thank you for being a blessing and following the call our Father has placed on your heart. Okay, everyone. Thanks again for watching. I love you all.